And good evening and welcome to LawCall on WLOX and WDAM. I'm Ken Flanagan. So happy to have you live with us in studio tonight. We are talking about the employee retention credit. It's a federal tax credit that literally could benefit every single business in the WLOX and WDAM viewing area. I exaggerate not. We're going over it tonight. The employee retention credit, ERC, the phone lines are open, 896-0713 or 1-800-349-0713. That toll-free number is good through the entire broadcast area from Lucedale to Long Beach to Laurel to all points in between. We'd love to hear from you tonight. And a little bit later, Jim Reeves will be along to talk about the Jones Act. So easy to wrap that up in just a 1 minute segment. Nothing to it at all. And we got your email question of the week a little bit later in the show. Joining me now from the law firm of Reeves and Mestayer, it is the Matthew Mestayer to talk about the ERC. A lot of pronouns, a lot of nouns.
Thank you very much. Yes,
glad to see you again, my friend.
Thank
I know you've had a busy day today with the fam, and the legs are going to be okay?
I'll be okay.
You're going to be all right?
Yeah.
We'll massage them. We can massage them during the break.
I didn't want to go
No,
there.
I'm here to help.
Thank you.
I'm here to help. Matt, we've been talking about this show all week. We did this show earlier in the month. Big, important topic.
Right.
You really can't undersell how important the ERC is. Let me just say, take it away. Let's tell everybody about this in case it's the first time you're hearing about it.
No, thank you, Kenny. Really, this is an incredible program, honestly, that I didn't know much about even 6 months ago. We found out about it, and the more we kind of found out about it, the more important we saw that it was. It was like an onion that kind of kept giving, all right? So the more layers we looked at, the better. Essentially, the program is this. If you're a small business owner and you kept employees during the pandemic, primarily 2020 and 2021, you're entitled to, you may be, if you qualify, entitled to a substantial check back from the IRS.
Wow.
That's right, a substantial check back from the IRS. So, as I say, it's a program that we didn't know, that was not on our radar 6 months ago.
Gotcha.
It is certainly on our radar now. We're doing a lot of it. We're trying to get the word out. And I tell you, Kenny, it's just, I'm still amazed how many businesses I'm talking to, and they were like I was 6 months ago, in the sense that they had not heard of it, they didn't know what it's about. So we want to get the word out. Want to know people to get a little familiar with the basic details so they can kind of pick up the ball and run with it.
And we made graphics tonight, folks. We got everything that you need to know on this one. And this is one of these things, we don't throw around our graphics lightly. I mean, they cost money, for heaven's sakes. No. Well, not much, but they do cost a little bit of money somehow, in-kind labor. But it's important to go over this. So, Matt, here's the first graphic for you. The ERC, the Employee Retention Credit, you'll probably hear most people refer to it as ERC. Let's go over the basics here. You were talking about this is for any business that kept their employees through the pandemic. Let's talk about the wages and costs.
That's right, Kenny. This is just, as I say, this is just some of the highlights, and this is kind of the calculation piece. So this program, it applies to wages during essentially the second, third, and fourth quarter of 2020 and the quarters of 21. So it's those wages in that period of time, those are the ones subject to this program. And you can get a lot of that back from the IRS. That's just number one. So
almost all of your wages from 2020.
Well,
and almost all your wages from 2021.
Well, there are limits, okay? There are limits,
right.
But those are the areas, those are the periods of time you look at. So that's where you start looking at, and then you can draw kind of back from those periods of time.
And this is not PPP. This is a different program.
Yeah, and it's funny you should say that. The first time we spoke to our accountant, and he said, "Oh, no, you've got the PP." I'm like, "No, this is not the PPP. This is something else." So you can let me make this clear as well, Kenny, because we've heard this a lot.
Yeah.
You can get this program and the PPP. It's not an either or. You can do both. Now you cannot double dip. Okay, you can't get the same money for the same period of time, but absolutely, positively, you can get PPP if you qualify, as well as this program if you qualify.
PPP and ERC.
ERC. Yeah, I know. I didn't come up with these.
It's not you. The IRS did this, which is another acronym, of course.
Right.
Let's go over the two big qualifications. And, folks, this is what we were talking about earlier could affect every single business, big or small, medium to large, all the way across the Gulf Coast. Matt, the government mandate. Talk about that one.
I will. Yeah. First of all, how do you get it? Well, the first thing you've got to do, there's a qualification piece, which we touched on. But what you have to qualify. Not every business, automatically is entitled to it. All right.
Okay.
There are two different ways you can qualify. Number one, government mandate. If your business was affected by any state, local, federal government mandate, and it affected your business a minimal amount, and they define that as 10%, so a 10% effect on your business,
wow.
Then you qualify. Another way to qualify, you don't have to have both, it's either or. Another way to qualify is a drop in revenue. If you compare your revenue in 2019 to the same period of time revenue in 2020 and 21, and if you have a significant drop in those years, then you also qualify. So we look at two different ways to see if you qualify. And then if you qualify, then you go into the calculation piece. You start looking at wages, you start looking at, of your employees, which ones qualify, and then you're good to go.
Matt, these are two huge umbrellas that could incorporate and cover a ton of businesses. When you're talking about a government mandate, and that could be local, state, or federal, that affected 10% of your business or more. I mean, of course, restaurants, barbershops, hair salons, doctors' offices,
lawyers' offices. Okay, we filed an ERC claim for ourselves. Imagine that.
So this is something you literally you're doing it.
I'm doing it. We're doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for our friends. We're doing it for a lot of local businesses. And I just can't emphasize it enough, Kenny. If you're a small business owner, please look into this program. It's available for you. It's something that a lot of people don't know about. We're trying to get the word out, and we just encourage everyone to talk to your accountant, give us a call. But this program is just too good to pass up. It's kind of rewarding people for doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You're getting essentially money back that you paid to employees during the pandemic when other people were kind of laying people off or firing employees. You kept your employees. You did the right thing. Well, lo and behold, you're entitled to get a chunk of that money back, and I want everyone, of course, that can take advantage of that to do that.
Matt, we're running out of time for this segment.
Imagine.
It is a complicated process.
It is.
From what you've told me. We're going to talk about that more when we come back out of the break, and how it's something you could do on your own, but it would be very difficult to do on your own.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll have more details for you on this topic. The phone lines are hot and open, ready to go. 896-0713. We'll see you right after the break for more Law Call here on WLOX and WDAM. Real quick, Matt, if somebody's just joining us, and where have you been?
Yep.
Let's go.
I don't know why you're late.
I don't know why you're late.
Go ahead.
We'll work it out next weekend. We're on at 10:30. The Employee Retention Credit, ERC. Matt, kind of break down the wages and how it works.
Absolutely. First of all, it's a great new program with the IRS. Essentially, if you kept wages during the pandemic, we're talking primarily 2020 and 2021, you're entitled to get a chunk of those wages back if you qualify. All right, so on the graphic right there on your screen, you see that first is those are the periods of time, those are the wages, that's when you can take the wages back. So that's the area that you can actually pull wages back. It's actually the second, third, and fourth quarter of 2020 and the first 3 quarters of 21. All right, so that's absolutely. And once again, this is not the PPP program. That was a lot of confusion about this.
Right.
And honestly, and not to get too detailed, Kenny, but when they first started this program, you actually had to choose between the two. You could do PPP or this. Actually, because so many folks were doing the PPP, nobody was doing the ERC. And boy, you don't want to say that too many times.
No, you really don't.
You don't. Essentially, they opened it up. They said, you know what? You can do both. You can't double dip, and we don't double dip, but you actually can do both if you qualify. So it's a great program.
So this is not the PPP.
It is not, and you can do both.
And it is a complicated formula, as you were saying.
It is, and let's kind of go back to the qualification piece, because this is really, the calculation piece is relatively, honestly, straightforward.
Sure.
The question is, do you qualify? That's the big question. So what you have to have, you have to have W-2 employees. All right. Also, you can only have under 100 employees. So this is a small business program, and I don't necessarily consider 80 employees a small business.
No.
But on a national scale, you have to have under 100 employees. So with those kind of two caveats, those two requirements, you go into the qualifications. Two different ways to do it. First, a government mandate. If your business was affected, and they define that as a minimal effect, 10% by any type of government mandate, state, federal, local, county, what have you, you qualify. And of course, we obviously restaurants with the rules about closing, with the rules about distancing, doctor's office when it was only emergency surgeries only, elective surgery was slowed down. The
dentist office,
the dentist office, barbershops, restaurants, bars, all that.
Everybody.
The courthouse, for example, lawyers, that was not closed. Courthouse stayed open, but they greatly restricted, the business that was done. So that had a big effect. So
big umbrella.
And so, we're looking at construction, supply chain information, things like that. So if something like that affects your business 10%, you qualify. So in another way, another way you can qualify as well is revenue based. So if your business saw a significant drop in income compared with 2019 to the same period in 2020 or 2021, then you also qualify for that quarter. So it's a 50% drop in 20 and a 20% drop in 21. So we look at all that with our clients to see if they qualify, and there we go. Yeah.
Matt, two huge umbrellas to go over, and this would be, I imagine, if somebody's watching tonight, a business owner of 100 employees or less, you would help them kind of figure out, say, okay, we're going to go government mandate, or we're going to go on the other side here.
We do. Listen, when we bring our clients in, there's a small packet of information we need, and it's honestly, it's a surprising small bit of information we need to kind of get started. But essentially, we talk to the business owner and we say, hey, what did you do during the pandemic? What affected you the worst? How did you kind of tweak your business? How did your operations change? Let's talk about that. And then we do a deep dive into the mandates, and then we kind of work with it. So so then we come back to the client and say, here we go. Here are the numbers. We think you do qualify, and make sure we're all on the same board. Then we go forward. So it looks like there is about when we file, and what you've got to do is file amended 941s with the IRS. When we file is in 6 months, you will get a check from the IRS.
Wow.
Full amount, 6 months.
That's not bad for the federal government.
Not too bad.
Not too bad at all. I feel going to say, going into the break, this is time sensitive.
It is, Kenny. Listen, it's the program, and it's exactly, it's in good shape, and it's moving forward. But we fully anticipate that at some point the IRS, through legislation, is going to change it, is going to pull this program back, is going to reduce it. In fact, they have already now tweaked it 3 separate times to open it up and expand it. We feel at some point, when they think they've expanded it enough, they're going to retract it. So, as I tell you, as in everything we talk about on the show, it is time sensitive. So
the clock is
there's ticking. We believe that it is. We want to get our clients stuff done as quick as we can, because we truly believe that at some point the IRS is going to say we're shutting down this program. They've already tweaked it 3 times, and we fully expect that they're going to do it a 4th time.
Well, Matt, it's kind of like hurricane relief. We've all seen it. The federal government says, "Oh, this relief is going to be here the whole time." Well, no, it really is.
It never is.
It's first come, first
At some
served.
Point, they say it's enough. We're shutting down. So,
got a great email question came in on our topic. Came in earlier in the week. Came in from 2 weeks ago from Parker. Parker says in his email to you, Matt, I'm a small business owner, and most of my employees are W-2. According, he's got his employees, and this is how he does their wages is W-2, not 1099. Does that matter? Parker, the answer to that is yes. Why? Is that a big yes or?
It completely matters, Parker. Absolutely it matters. Essentially, to qualify to get money back for your employees, they have to be W-2 employees, and they have to be full-time employees with the IRS. And the IRS defines that as like 136 hours per month. And so absolutely has to be a W-2 employee, has to be a full-time employee. So actually, for example, as I touched upon the 100 employee kind of limitation, Kenny, some of my clients said, well, I've got, 130 W-2 employees. Well, are they full-time employees?
Right. Yeah.
And when we look at their literally monthly, wage statements, they're not according to the IRS full-time W-2 employees. So it drops the number down. So they do qualify. So these are the kind of things you look at, and you have to know to look at to make sure that you got a good claim.
Well, and that's a good point about the full-time too, because you can have a part-time employee that's a W-2, but that wouldn't qualify underneath this program.
Absolutely. So you don't count them.
So the IRS is trying to reward businesses that when you kept your employees on full-time during the pandemic.
Kind of did the right thing. Small businesses, and as you can say, they limited it to 100 and lower. And so, big national conglomerates obviously can't do this, thank goodness. So it's for the small business. And that's me. That's probably a lot of folks listening tonight. Sure. And that's why we're so excited. That's why we're trying to get the word out. And just truly amazed that, this is something that really was not on our radar literally 5-6 months ago. And we're still talking to clients daily. And it's not on their radar either. And so we just want to make sure that we get the word out and people look at it, because it's a great program.
Matt, if somebody was interested learning about this for the first time on the show, or going to check us out on YouTube later in the week, what do they need to have in front of them when they call your office on Monday or Tuesday this week?
Honestly, they just need to communicate with our office, Kenny, and then we send them a small packet that they have to fill out. We need some basic information, and what we do, You cannot call me on the telephone and I can say, you've got a great claim. Okay, I don't know.
You got to see it.
There's some basic paperwork. I need to see it, and then we kind of go down this road together. We do a no obligation look, meaning we don't charge anything until the point you say, yeah, I agree, Matthew, we do have a good claim here. We're going to file it. We're going down this road together, and then you've got something. Otherwise, we're happy to look and say yes, no, and people do as they wish.
And I want to go back over that again. So it is when you take the first look at it, the meter's not running.
Absolutely.
It's a free examination.
Free look under the hood, no obligation whatsoever. Absolutely not, because honestly, I don't know. I mean, I've got to look at your paperwork, and then we come back with an estimate. We come back, we think you pass causation. We think you're good here.
Right.
Do you want to proceed? And then if they do, fabulous. And then, as I say, we don't get paid until the client gets paid 6 months after we file the claim.
Gotcha. All right, so, great program.
There you go.
Something to look at. Matt's office you'll be in the office on Monday.
Absolutely.
Ready to roll? 9 a.m. 9 a.m.
8:30.
8:30 a.m. Give him a buzz. Talk to his secretary at the very least. And
talk to me.
Right over there. Lee, so sorry we couldn't get to your call tonight. Let me encourage you, Lee. Call us back next week. Your question will be perfect for next week's show. We're always kind of finding our right shows, right questions, but we do appreciate everybody trying to call in tonight. We'll get you on next week's show for sure. My friends, that is it for tonight. Go to their website, check all the details out. But until then,
good night.